Michelle Moore here for Cox Cable. And like the song says, it's carnival time. And once again, Cox Cable is bringing you coverage of the Endymion Parade. This year we'll be catching all the pomp and pageantry from the Superdome. And you'll definitely have the best seat in the house. And to show you what a great vantage point you'll have, we're going to take a look back at last year's parade. So stay tuned and get ready to get into the carnival spirit. We'll be right back. Michelle Moore here again, and I'm getting ready for Cox Cable's coverage of the 1994 Endymion Parade. But before we see that, let's take a look at highlights of Cox's coverage of the 1993 Endymion 27 Parade.
Hi, and welcome to Cox TV 38's coverage of Endymion 93. I'm Jim Sharp, and this is my wife, Melissa. We do the morning show on Mix 95.7 radio. It's great to have you along. We got a great parade tonight. There's going to be so much to see. And we're going to be also talking a little later on to Monique Walker. She's down on the street talking to some of the interesting people. And
in all the middle of this craziness, Monique is on the street. She's going to give us a real color report from down where the action's happening. The theme for Endymion 93 is Flights of Fantasy, and they're borrowing from a lot of different tales. Aesop's Fables, the Grimm Fairy Tales, Mother Goose, things that we've all grown up on, memories from our childhood.
All right, and here is the acting captain of the crew of Endymion. Representing Fantasia, the acting captain wears a tunic and tights in black covered with rhinestones, small mirrors, and there's things in turquoise on there that dazzle with reflected light. His large collar depicts stars and fountains of bubbling water over a background of rainbow colors that flow one into another. The top of his collar depicts a scene from The Night on Bald Mountain and a montage of colors from the Disney movie Fantasia.
Coming along now, you can see on your screen the St. Augustine High School Marching 100 Band. These are the Purple Knights from New Orleans. Under the direction of Edward Hampton, one of the premier high school bands of the United States. The Marching 100 have played for 5 U.S. presidents. They were official band to welcome Pope John Paul II when he visited New Orleans in '87. Let's listen.
You know, they've appeared 4 times in the annual Martin Luther King Parade in Atlanta. They're featured in 3 motion pictures.
Again, the big sound of the St. Augustine High School Marching 100 Band, the Purple Knights from New Orleans. We saw this gentleman coming in on the plane yesterday to New Orleans International Airport. It was quite a mob scene at the airport when film star Steven Seagal came in.
And of course, he is the Grand Marshal of Endymion 93. I'm sure you know him from his movies, Above the Law, which, by the way, he wrote. I don't know if you knew that. Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Hard to Kill, and, of course, his latest, Under Siege, which Siskel and Ebert, by the way, put on their top 10 list of 1992. Great action movie. I don't know if you know who he's married to either, but...
Oh, he's married to the gorgeous Kelly LeBrock, the one that does the commercials. You know, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. She is, too, and Kelly's at home expecting their first baby.
You of course, know Kelly from Don't Hate Me Because I'm Beautiful. I don't know if you know this, Steven has spent 15 years studying Aikido, which is one of the most all-inclusive martial arts there are. And he is considered one of the most difficult, too. He was the first non-Asian to open a dojo martial arts school in Tokyo, which is quite an accomplishment. Now has an enrollment of about 2,000 people. He's begun his own production company now, too.
Look at him.
Steamroller Productions.
He's just gorgeous. I'm sorry, I love my husband. That's a gorgeous man, though.
And, of course, accompanying Steven Seagal are several officers of Endymion. There's John. We had a chance to interview John on the air, on the radio Friday morning. What a nice guy.
John Stamos is currently the star of the ABC TV sitcom Full House. You see it on Channel 8 here in New Orleans every Monday night at 7 o'clock. Reruns daily on Channel 26 at 6:30.
And coming up the street, the Casa Samba Brazilian Mardi Gras troupe.
Oh, this is really some of the flavor of Mardi Gras.
This is from, of course, south of the equator. Under the direction of Curtis Pierre, the New Orleans Ensemble recreates the excitement and flavor of the famous samba schools of Mardi Gras in Rio de Janeiro, which some people will claim is a bit more racy than we do it here in New Orleans. It's, of course, not as big as we do it, but what was it we just read the other day, that they've actually asked the Carnival Queen to cover her buttocks this year?
That's right.
They do things a little different in Brazil.
This is more of a family show, I guess. Look at the gorgeous costumes that you can see on your screen right now.
Some of the musical instruments they have over 30 imported Brazilian samba drums. They got tambourines of different pitches and metal agogo bells. It's a pulsating rhythm.
Can you imagine having to walk this whole long parade route in stilts?
Here's the co-grand marshals of Endymion, the Beach Boys. As you all remember, when the British invasion was happening, the Beach Boys were standing on solid American ground here in the U.S. with Good Vibrations, Surfing USA, California Girls, Barbara Ann, and Help Me Rhonda. And here she is, the Queen of Endymion.
She is Miss Cynthia Alana Benbow, daughter of Mr. Michael Benbow and Mrs. Jean Foss. She's a pre-med student at Loyola University and an interior design student at Delgado Junior College.
She's a member of the Biology and Psychology Honor Society at Loyola. She's 21 years old. She enjoys water sports, loves working with children. She's been a counselor at the YMCA for 4 years, and she's wearing a traditional royal gown of European influence. And now,
here he is.
His Majesty Endymion 27, Bradley W. Butler.
Bradley's been a member of Endymion for just 6 years. He was chosen by a lot by his queen at the recent Endymion coronation party at the New Orleans Hilton Hotel last month.
And that's really fun. If you haven't been there, they walk around the crowd and fake out everybody who thinks they might have a chance to be king until they finally do crown Endymion. Endymion 27, Mr. Butler's 36. He's a telecommunications technician for Guywire Communications Company in Metairie. He and his wife Lynn reside in Destrehan. His Majesty is wearing a royal robe of white and silver trimmed in faux ermine. His crown is reminiscent of that used by the kings of Europe and is studded in rhinestones, crystals, and silver beads.
Oh, this is my favorite float coming up next.
Float number 1. This is Papa Joe's SS Endymion, the crew of Endymion's first super float. It's a paddle wheel steamer. It made its debut back in the 1977 parade. And
look at her. Look at her with lights and decorations in red, white, and blue. And stacks, too. She's got belches of plumes of smoke as she races up the Mississippi. Well, Canal Street in this case.
Endymion's Flights of Fantasy. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but Endymion is a shepherd, and he's also a god of youth in Greek mythology. Zeus bestowed on Endymion the gifts of immortality and everlasting sleep. Is that a curse, or what is that?
That's what I'm going to be like tomorrow morning, though, after the Endymion extravaganza.
He's reclining on a large pillow, and the moon goddess Selene is seen caressing him. Around them. Several maids in waiting, and the rest of this 86-foot long super float stretches on endlessly in the shape of a noble's house and a Greek temple in shades of pink and yellow. And here comes float number 3 down the road. It's Peter Pan, of course, the treacherous Captain Hook, looking out over the forbidding sea. Off of the mighty sailing ship, which is transporting our heroes John, Wendy, and Michael from Never Never Land. Peter Pan and Tinker Bell hover overhead for a chance to foil the pilot himself, Captain Hook's sidekicks Mr. Smee and Pirate Starkey watch the goings-on from the quarterdeck. And here comes float number 4. It's Snow White. And we see Snow White larger than life on the front of this super float as she's pondering the poison apple given to her by her jealous stepmother.
Don't eat it, Snow White. Across the top of the float, you see the windows of her little house and the giant forest and a wagon from the mine where the 7 dwarfs worked.
And they're all there. Sneezy, sleepy, dopey, Doc, grumpy, bashful, and happy. It's my in-laws.
Coming up on your screen now, you see Pinocchio, the animated mechanical wooden puppet who became a boy. He's on the front of another Endymion super float with a whole bunch of maskers and a whole bunch of throws.
And, of course, behind him, Jiminy Cricket. And you see the yellow cottage of the woodcarver Geppetto, who created Pinocchio, the famous puppet, who's, by the way, heading off to school. And we all know what happened on the way to school to Pinocchio, don't we? Here's float number 7, the Ugly Duckling. A majestic white swan swimming near a thicket of cattails graces the front of this float. And his mother, a gorgeous mallard with lighted wings, watches from above. Along the side of the float, we see the duckling's story from humble beginnings as sad, plain gray waterfowl, loved by mother, not unlike me, but ostracized by his fluffy yellow siblings in a marshland with lush with palms, everglades, and flowers. And now we're up to float number 8, the Emperor and the Nightingale.
This is a grand Chinese emperor in a dazzling robe of reds, orange, green, and gold, flanked by golden nightingales in gilded cages. He sits enthroned in his imperial majesty atop the front of his float as his feathered fans wave a gentle breeze. And behind him, there's a huge palace of Cathay where inside the walls are lush gardens.
And coming up behind them, float number 9, it's King Midas, the foolish king, of course, who lusted for the wealth and power of gold, and he wished everything he touched would turn into gold. Sits at the front of the float, surrounded by gold bars and a chest of gold coins. And I don't know if you know this or not, but riding on that float, Ray Nagin, who's the general manager of Cox Cable New Orleans, and also Bill Gebhardt, who's the general manager of Cox Cable Jefferson, as well as Steve Sawyer, who's community relations for Cox Cable. They're on there somewhere. See if we can pick them out. And coming up next is float number 10, Jack and the Beanstalk. Of course, the huge giant in the sky waits with his spiked club in hand for the arrival of Jack from the earth below. And I think with this float, there's a little different chant than you're used to.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, they've got pearls, I want me some.
That was really stupid.
Was that dumb? I'm sorry. Maybe it'll work, though. You got to have a gimmick, you know? There's people out here holding up signs. There's people out here holding up, like, basketball hoops to catch throws in, to catch beads and pearls and cups and doubloons.
Coming up next, float number 11, this is Robin Hood. You can see him with his bow in his hand and the thieves peering out from beyond. And, of course, the throwers, the riders.
You think they've actually taken from the rich?
I didn't think of that.
Give us some.
I want to know where Maid Marian is. That's what I want to know. Oh, there she is. She's on the side there.
Look at the animation involved in this float. Oh, look at him go.
Oh, the crowd is loving these guys.
Well, this is the most animation we've seen from a band yet. This is the James Shanks High School Marching Band from the state of Florida, and they know how to please their crowd. That's a little bit of stuff they borrowed from Michael Jackson, I think.
guys give lessons. And here comes our next float. Float number 12, Hansel and Gretel. You know, I thought a couple of times about baking our kids, too, some of the stuff they put us through.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, they're just at least leading them into the woods and leaving them there for a couple days.
See the wicked old witch of the forest out in front of the mega float?
Oh, nasty. Look at her. She's green. And there's Hansel and Gretel, the unsuspecting babes in the woods.
Here's float number 13, Sleeping Beauty. The Princess Strida galleon steed at the front of this float while the recently awakened princess twirls in a dance of joy atop the float. Of course, designed and built by Blaine Kernardis, who's a native of New Orleans. He's been doing business here for more than 40 years. Now the largest float builder in the world.
He has 40 full-time float builders, and in the Mardi Gras season, he hires an additional 350 float builders to work on all these masterpieces.
Yeah, he does about 40 parades each carnival, and he's built parades for all over the United States and the world. Large-scale animation in the super float is some of the stuff that he was innovating. And I don't know if you knew this, he built some of the floats for the Walt Disney Complex near Paris, France, the Olympics in Barcelona, which was a spectacular parade.
Coming up on your screen now, we've got float number 13.
Oh, no, number 14.
No, I'm sorry, number 14. I'm losing track. Cinderella.
She's in a pink ball gown, Cinderella and her two mice, which are no longer horses, by the way. Race towards the coach will take them back home.
Wait a minute, I've seen some like that in our garage. Those are rats.
And behind them you see the glass slipper that Cinderella left behind in her nasty exit. You know, that same person who was telling me that horrible story about Sleeping Beauty said in the original Cinderella, the stepsisters cut their toes off so that they could fit in the slipper.
Oh, I think someone was pulling your leg.
I'm
really
ruining
do.
this for everybody.
I know. You can hear the crowd screaming behind us as Mother Goose goes by, continuing Endymion 93's theme of Flights of Fantasy. Mother Goose, of course, flanked by the owl and the pussycat.
And one of the riders on there just got me my first frisbee.
First frisbee.
Float number 16, Rumple. What's a Rumple?
Oh, very funny.
Mince.
No.
Oh, wait, Rumpelstiltskin.
That's it, Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, that nasty little dwarf who demanded a queen's child in return for making it appear she could spin gold from straw.
And then she had to guess his name.
And she had to guess his name.
What a bum. There's float number 17, Arabian Nights, flanked by desert palms, a massive head of the Sultan Shahryar, and a white turban, large blue plume, dominates the front of the float. Now, he wasn't able to trust his wives, so this doesn't sound like a half-bad idea. He married a new one each day and then put her to death the next morning.
Oh, great. Well, that is until he found his own Scheherazade.
There you go. And here comes float number 18, the Elves and the Shoemaker. Remember the story about the elves would fix the shoes and his wife would sew the clothes for him so they wouldn't run around neckery all the time?
That's another Grimm's fairy tale, isn't it?
I think so.
Those
I don't want to.
Grimm's brother, and they had a weird imagination. And those are the kinds of stories we grew up on. Here comes the Little Mermaid. This is another one of the kids' favorite floats, the Little Mermaid with the coral, turquoise, and blue hues of the sea and its colorful inhabitants.
Now remember, she wanted to have a soul, and she wanted to live among mankind rather than live 300 years beneath the sea. And remember, she rescued the Sailor Prince?
Yep.
And she was a babe. This is float number 21, the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and her friends are returning from the Emerald City, where the wizard has granted their wishes. The Scarecrow with his brain, the Tin Man his heart, the Lion his courage, and Dorothy, of course, gets to return to Kansas.
But now that she's been to New Orleans,
I don't know if she
doesn't
wants
want to go back to Kansas anymore.
No, actually, I heard about a high school. I had a mock trial to see if Dorothy was guilty of manslaughter with the witch.
Oh, no.
She was acquitted, though, folks. Don't worry. She was acquitted. Oh, they're throwing big time to us here. Around the side, guys.
The Wizard of Oz.
S. Marcus High School Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard, Drum and Bugle Corps, and Saber Drill Team from the state of Texas. And now, float number 22.
This is the Frog Prince. Look at that huge frog in his green, in his gold, red, and blue tunic. He dominates the lush forest scene of this float.
You know, he looks like an old boyfriend of yours. I didn't want to say that, but he does.
But they all kind of look the same.
Oh, that's nice. Up next, float number 23. This is Rapunzel. Rapunzel, let down your long hair. Oh, wait. Split ends. Oh, man. I hate it when that happens. Of course, another Brother Grimm's Tale tells a hair-raising story of a beautiful 12-year-old locked up in a castle tower by a witch who caught her father stealing vegetables from her garden. And Rapunzel peers out from the tower window with to the ground below, and a very animated prince, of course, climbs up Rapunzel's hair to gain her freedom.
A hair-raising tale? Did you have to say that? Float number 24. This float is Gulliver's Travels. This is the Jonathan Swift story of Gulliver, and you can see him lying shackled to the ground.
You know, I know how he feels sometimes. Like right when I get home from work, the kids do this to me sometimes. They tie me down.
There's the tiny king of the Lilliputs standing guard over Gulliver. Some of his little tiny subjects drop by for a look. You can hear the crowd cheering and screaming for this float. And along comes the fisherman and his wife. And the fisherman's had it, and the fish are the prominent figures in the turbulent seascape, depicting another tale from the Brothers Grimm. The fisherman's hard-to-please wife is moved from living in a pigsty to a nice cottage, then a spacious house, a mansion, and a king's castle.
Hey, not unlike our life.
Yeah.
But you're still not happy.
Right, I'm still in the pigsty, though. I just like to get to the nice cottage. All right, now we're up to Little Red Riding Hood.
Float number 26, a big four-poster bed with a wolf disguised as grandma lying in it. Just off the front of this charming float, a wary little Red Riding Hood spins around at the top, looking to see who's following her through the woods. And I see more than a few wolves as riders. At the back of the float, they got a large basket of goodies for Grandma. And, of course, the familiar scene of the woodsman chasing the wolf. Float number 27. The last float we'll be seeing tonight, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. A large figure of Mama Bear appears from the front of this float, depicting the house of the Three Bears. She's looking for someone who sat in her chair and ate her porridge from the near-empty bowl. This sounds like your mom, Melissa.
Yeah. Always grouching. Now, the crowd knows that this is their last chance to catch a bunch of stuff. This is the last float that's going to be coming through here tonight.
Uh-oh. They got Robin, the camera woman, with a big old bunch of beads. Woo! Oh, man. I just got a big old bag.
Look at them. They're just chucking bags full.
Oh, float number 27, Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Oh, gosh.
Had a great time at Endymion 1993. As you see the Kenner Volunteer Fire Department pumper truck from Kenner, Louisiana. You see the people getting the last little bits of the throws out there.
This is your last chance before the cleanup crew comes through and clears the streets of all this trash, all these empty bags.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us for Endymion 1993. Thanks to Monique Walker, who's down on the street with everybody else, having a good time. And thanks, of course, to Cox TV 38 for bringing you this and letting us host it for you. It's Jim and Melissa. We'll see you on the radio. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that wraps up our review of last year's parade. Now, I'm going to get ready for this year's parade on Cox Metro 10. I better hurry up and get out of here, because I'm not going to catch any good beats. Whoops! There it is. Hoot, there it is. Hoot, there it is.
Welcome with the 1994 Endymion Extravaganza in the Louisiana Superdome. I'm Brigitte Pellette with Good News New Orleans, and my co-host this evening is John Curry with Dixie Crystal. Hey, John.
Thank you, Brigitte. We're looking forward to a colossal event here in the Superdome, and we're very pleased to be part of this. Dixie Crystals is proud to sponsor this parade, the 28th parading of Endymion, 1994, and we couldn't be happier to be here. We've been a part of Louisiana for such a long time. We're now going to go live and listen to the Nobles as part of the broadcast, and we'll be back with you later on for the start of the parade. Thank you.
Welcome back. We're still here, up here, enjoying the sounds of the Nobles. John and I have been dancing, haven't we?
Oh, I'm telling my feet hurt.
It's great music down there.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break in just a moment. We're listening to the Nobles, awaiting the parade.
We hear that, we hear they'll be soon.
They're here. I'm sure the Clydesdales are anxious to get through the doors here, so we'll take a short break and be right back with you.
It's here. We're excited. They're finally in the dome. We can't wait.
The Endymion rockumentary is just pulling through the doors now. The first lead units are coming in. It's been a long time in coming, we think, but it may be here a little earlier than we thought. So it must be rolling along quite well. I think we're going to be able to pick up and see what's coming through the doors here. Motorcycles, and they don't have to clear the people back. The tables are separated with barricades. There's still party goers, parade watchers looking to catch a few more throws before the parade rolls through here. There's the boys in blue, New Orleans' finest, who do an excellent job. Someone needs to compliment Joseph Ortiz, the police chief, with the work he does with
The auxiliary police.
crowd control, the auxiliary police who volunteer their time to come through here. I don't think I'd want to be a policeman during Mardi Gras because I wouldn't make a good one, but their patience is well accepted by the crowd.
Well accepted.
This year's float parade is going to lead us with 27 floats to a trip down memory lane that is supercharged with many of the sights and sounds that we grew up with, and which we have continued to enjoy in the past 4 decades. From the pioneers of rock and roll with Bill Haley, Elvis Presley, Fats Domino, and the modern superstars Rod Stewart, Elton John, Madonna, and you'll see them all here tonight.
Larger than life and a dazzling explosion of color and light. 23 giant double-deck and multi-level floats, each with more than 50 riders and 7 super floats, carrying more than 100 masters, offering living testimony that rock and roll is definitely here to stay.
We're going to go to a short break right now, and hope you can hear what's like the Marine Band to us. Let's see who it is now. We want to make sure to bring you all of the color and splendor of this big event here. As we said, this parade had started in 1967 in Gentilly with just a small amount of people. It's grown into this mega parade with more than 1,400 riders. There'll be 10,000 marchers, drill teams. Well, I tell you, it's nothing more befitting than to have the Star Spangled Banner played before any sporting event, and this certainly is one. Mardi Gras is such an American tradition to the people of New Orleans and Louisiana. Well, you certainly can't talk over pyrotechnics, I tell you. It's that was beautiful.
United States Marine Corps, 4th Marine Aircraft Wing Band, Major Wayne Eagle, Master Gunnery Sergeant G.W. Harris.
And if you can pick up Jerry Romig in the background, introducing all the events here with the Marine Band, playing the halls of Montezuma.
And on behalf of the captain of Endymion and Unions, we are delighted to welcome you to Endymion 1994.
Here we go with Endymion 1994. We are pleased to bring you this event. Compliments of Dixie Crystals and Cox Metro 10 channel.
Costuming genius Sam Nicholas.
Brigitte, what do you think here? This is something new for us to be in the Superdome.
I know, it's quite exciting. Well, you've hosted Endymion, right?
We've done it here back in 1987 from the street. It is certainly different to be in the street than it is in the Superdome, to have the beads hit you in the head when you're trying to commentate.
I can imagine. Well, we have a great seat. We're up in the press box. We're probably the best seat in the house up here.
Well, we have the best seat unless you're in your recliner in front of your chair, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this event. The color and spectacle brought to you every year by Cox Cable. Superdome has been kind enough to let us get in here, the largest facility in the United States for sporting events and conventions. Endymion Group has had this place all week long preparing. The decorations are just fabulous. Blaine Kern Jr., the float builder's son, has been in here decorating all week long with his crew.
Oh, his company continues to grow in service to entertainment spectaculars and large conventions in the southern region. It's obvious that the Kern family creative genius has passed on to the younger generation.
Blaine Kern, the float builder, I guess going on 40 years now, that has a 19-year-old boy. His mom was in the hospital, and he didn't know how to help pay his hospital bills, and his mom had a doctor who was the captain of Allah. And the doctor asked what could be done, and Blaine Kern painted a mural on the hospital wall to sort of help pay for the bills, and
here's the Brother Martin High School Band. Now, I know these guys really well. I used to be on Mount Carmel's dance team, and we used to march in several parades with these bands.
The Brother Martin band director is Mardi, with assistant band director Dominic Corona. The drum major is Craig Dio.
This is the Brother Martin Anniversary Float, celebrating the 125th anniversary of the Brothers Sacred Heart in New Orleans. The Sacred Heart Brothers have been a dominant force in the spiritual and educational well-being of thousands of men and boys from every walk of life in New Orleans.
Whether they were educated at the old St. Aloysius High School, the former Coriezu High School, or at Brother Martin High School, the students and alumni of the Sacred Heart Brothers schools, Crusaders all, are a proud testament to the commitment and tradition of the great teaching order of the Religious Brothers.
Please welcome the Brother Martin Crusader Marching Band and the Brothers of the Sacred Heart. We join Endymion's wish that they continue to prosper for another 125 years in preparing the young men of New Orleans for a successful Christian life.
Well, I have family that went to Brother Martin. I have my dad went to Aloysius and Brothers. Some of them have an original brick from the Aloysius School that was torn down in the corner of Esplanade.
You're
so
kidding.
you need to get a brick. I'm not too sure if those bricks are collector's items, but maybe they can sell a few of them.
I would hold on to it if I were you. You never know.
Great paperweights. Great
That's
paperweights.
true. Mr. Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Unit.
Yeah, they're showing you Al Mazet and the Reverend Monsignor Clinton Dosky. Al Mazet served as the first president of the Krewe Of Endymion, and Monsignor Dosky, pastor of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church in Kenner, Louisiana, has been the chaplain for Endymion since its inception. And I think he was here today for the Mass that was held this afternoon in the Superdome.
The president of the Krewe Of Endymion. Followed by
St. Aug High School. These guys, they can jam. St. Augustine High School Marching, one-under band, New Orleans and Louisiana, under the direction of Edward Hampton, one of the premier high school bands in the United States. They were the official band to welcome Pope John Paul II when he visited New Orleans in 1987. They played at the Super Bowl here in the Dome in 1991 and appeared 4 times in the annual Martin Luther King Parade in Atlanta.
The Marching 100 were featured in 3 motion pictures in the last couple of years. The Savage Beast, and what else? The Big Easy, of course, here in New Orleans. And the Purple Knights Band has been written about in many national publications, including The New Yorker. The principal of St. Augustine is Carl Blowen, and of course, the band director, Edwin Hampton, with his assistant, Ray Johnson. Those 4 drum majors are Chad Gales, Virgil Tiller, Spencer Davis, and Elton Johnson.
Here comes the captain, representing musical instruments. The acting captain of Endymion wears a white tunic, trimmed in white fur. His mantle is a large collar of white and silver, with turquoise plumes and ornamented with popular rock band instruments. A bass, a saxophone, a set of drums, a fiddle, and a clarinet. The captain's headpiece depicts a piano keyboard under a large music note in a swirl of turquoise plums. Isn't that beautiful?
What an absolutely gorgeous costume. Mr. Kelly is vice president of the Krewe Of Endymion and the father of this year's Queen of Endymion also. This will also give you a regal look of the midwinter splendor. And please give a rousing welcome to this gentleman. Look at the drums on that costume, please.
That is beautiful. Now, didn't you used to play a musical instrument, John?
Well, but they didn't look like that. They didn't shine like that.
That is beautiful. Now, you know it has to be heavy, wearing all that on your shoulders.
The costumes were designed so they could rest on their shoulders to take some of the weight off of their heads and their backs, but my God, that looks awful heavy. There's his float with his riders and support crew.
St. Mary's Academy Cougars, marching band and drill team.
Their St. Mary's principal is Sister Leona Bruner. Their band director is Jeffrey Herbert, with an assistant by the name of Mr. French. I don't know if that's the same Mr. French from TV or not, but drum major is Latoya Brown.
There are those long curls. Now you know everybody's jumping around for those long curls.
Well, people kill for those beads. Look at those gold long beads. You can hear the sounds of the bands. I wonder how long these tennis shoes and drums have lasted on these marchers' feet. They must be tired by now.
Oh, believe me, I know. I used to walk in many a parade. It's quite tiring.
Well, this parade has wound its way from City Park Stadium, where it lined up, with some of the floats inside and inside the park, coming down City Park Avenue to Carrollton Avenue to come down Canal Street, past Lee Circle to come back around the backside of the Superdome. It was a tremendously long route for these people.
Very good exercise.
I would imagine these band members have been preparing since 2 o'clock today. I drove out there this morning, saw floats just lined up, band directors there, horses waiting. It's a long wait for this event.
Jeannie Cooper, she is the Grand Duchess of Endymion. And I know a lot of the ladies know Corbin Bernsen from LA Law. Ms. Cooper is a 20-year veteran of CBS TV's The Young and the Restless, if you're a soap opera fan. She plays Catherine Chancellor Sterling, the 4 times divorced, recovering alcoholic, queen of mean, who everyone loves to hate. Now, what a witch. Now, that is a great role to play. And she's the only remaining original cast member on Young and the Restless.
Corbin is really playing it up. Look at him toss those beads. He looks like a professional.
He looks like he's having fun up there.
He's obviously been here before and lied to everyone that he hasn't. Jeannie Cooper has received 5 Emmy nominations, 3 for The Young and the Restless, and 2 for primetime dramas in which she has starred. Last year, Miss Cooper's star was added to Hollywood's Walk of Fame, and just a week ago, she was selected Best Actress in a Drama by Soap Opera Digest magazine.
You definitely can see this is a family affair for Corbin and Jeannie, because his brother, Colin Bernsen, and his sister, Karen, and the rest of the Cooper-Bernsen clan are with us tonight at the head table. He's having fun straddling that float.
Look at that arm Jeannie Cooper has, will you?
Boy, that's impressive.
She is one tough lady.
Isn't that Angela Hill?
There is Angela. Look at that. Angela got up there, and she's also on that float.
She's a great lady.
I understand this is Angela's first ride in the parade, and I can't believe that all these years she has never been invited to be able to ride and experience the thrill of looking down on, if not millions, hundreds of thousands of people.
Positively. She looks quite comfortable up there.
It's very hard to explain the thrill of looking down from a float and seeing just 40 people deep, as long as you can see on either side of the float. It's absolutely fabulous. Here comes the Keesler Air Force Base Color Guard Drum and Bugle Corps and the 50-state American flag drill team from Biloxi, Mississippi.
An impressive display of this nation's unity. Float. Oh, look at this. Here comes Ricky Jackson, all-pro linebacker for the New Orleans for the past 13 seasons. Ricky, who's one of the Saints' most popular players, has earned the title King of Staff for his aggressive play and leadership of the Saints' defense against all opponents. He holds the Saints' record for career sacks and is among the top 5 in the NFL for career sacks of opposing quarterbacks.
Ricky's a native of Pahokee, Florida. Ricky played his college football at the University of Pittsburgh. Ricky's married, the father of 2 sons and a daughter, and lives with his family in Destrehan. It is Endymion's wish that Ricky finish out a successful NFL career playing here as he always has with the New Orleans Saints. Welcome Endymion Grand Marshal, number 57, Ricky Jackson, fresh off of his Pro Bowl game that he played, his NFL game where he had an interception in the Pro Bowl. They want him back, they're saying. They want him back.
Oh,
He gets free agent status this year, so we're hoping that he continues to stay with the Saints.
Up next is Jesuit High School Marine Junior ROTC Band and Drill Team. The Marine Junior ROTC unit at Jesuit was established in 1964 and was the first high school-based Marine ROTC unit in the nation.
I've got nephews that go to Jesuit, fine all-boy school. Marine ROTC.
A fine school.
We welcome the
this entire parade in the Superdome, much less around the inside.
Here comes the Grand Marshal, Stephen Stills, who everyone knows is a folk rock legend. He's been a mainstay in the evolution of rock music for nearly 30 of his 49 years. A native of Dallas, he first hit the charts with the Buffalo Springfield group's folk rock classic, For What It's Worth. Later, with the Woodstock generation group of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Stills recorded more rock classics like Mardi, Gras, Teach Your Children, and just a song, Before I Go.
As a solo act, Stephen Stills gave us another classic song, Love the One You With. And he's loving everybody in here, I'll tell you, with the way he's throwing those beads. In all, Stephen Stills has had 30 records in the top pop charts, and now there's a New Orleans collection. He recently opened Two Can Do restaurant at Decatur Street in the French Quarter. There he is, Endymion Grand Marshal, Stephen Stills.
Here are the Wild Magnolias, the Mardi Gras Indians. John, didn't you see those last night?
Well, I was able to hear a little bit of the Wild Magnolias last night. They came on about 11:30. Still a large crowd here last night trying to catch the pre-Endymion party.
Right. Big Chief Bo Solis and Big Chief Monk Boudreaux and other members of the tribe are costumed in resplendent American Indian costumes in a tribute to a long and proud history of the unique contributions of black people to the Mardi Gras.
The handmade costumes with thousands of sequins and rhinestones and beads and feathers are incredible to behold. Take a look at that.
Here they are. They came in from the snow of Washington, D.C.
The U.S. Navy Ceremonial Guard from Washington, D.C. came a long way.
The U.S. Navy Drill Team has been in numerous parades since I've been here in New Orleans, and I saw them last night in Metairie. The precision, the sparkle. How'd you like to flip a rifle around like that for a living?
I don't know if I could do it.
Little ginsu on the end of that rifle there.
Here's the maid of Endymion representing psychedelic rock. Her name is Miss Louise Browning. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph W. Browning of New Orleans. Look at that costume. The dazzling sheath dress with a flared skirt in dramatic purple with appliques of multicolored sequins that conjure up images of the flower children of the late 1960s. Her collar depicts red hearts, tambourines, and Aquarius pouring water into a rainbow of colorful flowers.
Dixie Crystals. Pure cane sugar.
Look at how much fun she's having. It's amazing. Here we have the maid of Endymion representing rockabilly is Miss Ophelia Eby, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Mark R. Eby Jr. from Brownstown, Pennsylvania. Her dress is a powder blue sheath with a full flare at the bottom. Her collar is a piano keyboard wound over a silver scroll with a guitar on one shoulder and a banjo on the other and a cowboy hat on the top.
Looks like it's getting a little uncomfortable.
Look
there.
at those colors, would you? Her headpiece is a western bonnet with powder blue plumes. Miss Ophelia Eby.
It's the U.S. Air Force Academy Cadet Honor Guard.
Look at Casa Samba coming in.
Here's the Casa Samba Brazilian Mardi Gras troupe under the able direction of Curtis Pierre. This is New Orleans Ensemble, recreating the excitement and flavor the famous samba schools of the Mardi Gras in the Rio de Janeiro.
The costumes, the figures, the music, and the dance are all authentic. Musical instruments include 30 imported Brazilian samba drums, tambourines in various pitch, and the metal go-go bells on which musicians beat out a pulsating rhythm. The spectacle they create is truly infectious. Now, I haven't been to the Mardi Gras in Rio. Would like to go, but I understand they had a little poor turnout this year. Not quite anything like ours.
Now, you can't beat our Mardi Gras.
Absolutely not.
And let's welcome our next maid.
This is Latino Rock. Miss Elizabeth Kempinger, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Kempinger of Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
By the way, that Chautauqua band.
She wears a chic dress of dazzling orange, trimmed in gold lame ruffles at the shoulders and hips.
You know it was the
Her large collar of gold lame features sombreros, guitars, trumpets, and festive balloons. And her headpiece is a traditional flamenco dancer's hat.
Well, we're going to take a short break as we let some of the parade catch up with us now and hear from our sponsors, the good people at Dixie Crystal Sugar.
Definitely. Welcome back to the 1994 Endymion Extravaganza. I'm Brigitte Pellette and my co-host, Sean Curry.
We're happy to be here. This is an exciting event to bring you here in the Superdome. We're going to go back to the parade now, which seems to have caught up with everything, and see who's down on the floor now.
Here is Miss Stacy Catherine DiMaggio, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph DiMaggio of Metairie. Her mini dress of blue and white with a flared bottom brings us back to Carnaby Street and the mod fashions of Twiggy. Her collar in royal blue and white depicts the Fab Four, Paul, John, George, and Ringo. Beneath an imposing figure of London's Big Ben, surrounded by blue plumes. Stacy's headpiece is an imperial crown emblazoned with red, white, and blue, cross and bars of the Union Jack.
There is the Chautauqua Central High School Marching Band from New York State. This school from a small community 80 miles from Buffalo has a strong marching band tradition. I bet you they cannot march in Buffalo at this time of year. I know that.
Especially not the way the weather's been this winter.
Of course not. 40% of the student body is in the band, so it's not a very large school, which is making its third appearance in the Endymion Parade this year. Given the choice of going this year to Disney World or marching in Endymion, the students didn't even hesitate to pick where they wanted to be, and that was right here in the Big Easy. And we love it for them. We love to have them. That is a tribute to the folks at home, to you people in New Orleans who welcome with open arms the people from out of town to come in for these events.
Well, John, you're from out of town.
I had the unfortunate experience of moving to Michigan. Not that that was unfortunate for the company, but having to experience those cold winters and miss Mardi Gras all these years, and just getting back to bring the kids in to experience this because they didn't remember what it was, and it broke my heart not to be able to have them view from the street. They have the flavor of catching beads and having cups bounce off their heads, and just everything about the hype of getting to the parade. They're so excited. We took them out of school to do this. We wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Well, I just saw your three beautiful children, and they are covered with beads. They look like they had a great time tonight.
Even dirt. They had dirt on them, too.
That's the spirit of Mardi Gras.
We were able to get out to Metairie last night and sit in the stands with some friends, and it is just incredible to have the reception from the people of New Orleans like this.
Here is Miss Kelly Michelle Wells, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Wells, Jr. of Metairie, representing Glitter Rock. Her dramatic costume consists of a long black velvet sheath dress with appliques of wings and white irises. Her huge collar is the outline of a coiled red and black snake. On her shoulder is depicted of the faces of the rock group Kiss in all their Halloween splendor. Kelly's headpiece repeats the wing motif of her dress in a sea of daring black plumes.
The only thing you cannot see is Gene Simmons' tongue there. He's kept it in his mouth tonight. That is a beautiful, beautiful headdress.
quite stunning. If only Gene Simmons could see this now.
Well, he may be out there. Who knows? There are so many people who come in town from New Orleans. There's Corbin Burnson. He's either accepting or a seat up on the stage with Jerry Romy.
And here's Angela Hill.
And Ms. Hill.
She's looking beautiful this evening.
Is it on? Is it on? Look at her.
There's Jeannie Cooper, his mother from Young and the Restless. Look at all the people here.
It's a little difficult for you at home to see the stage. The stage is tremendous. It is almost the entire length of one sideline of the football field, so I'll tell you it's 100 yards long. All night long there'll be bands playing. I can't even begin to tell you the Temptations, the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli's around.
I even hear Aaron Neville's around.
Aaron Neville is here, and his brothers. With a big giant fleur-de-lis hanging from the center of the what used to be the old replay screens. While we have a short break here in the parade, we're gonna look at bringing you a message from our friends at Dixie Crystal Sugar and from Cox Cable. Thank you.
We're back with Endymion 1994, and now we're going to get right back to the coverage of the parade.
There we have the tail end of her float. It's interesting the way they have the spotlights now attached to the back end of the floats. I think this is the Lemon Bay Marching Band from Florida. There are so many out-of-town bands that come in for the parades. It's
I believe the Virginia Military Institute Regimental Band.
It certainly is.
From Lexington, Virginia, known as the Queen's Band.
Regimental band.
You know, these bands travel mostly by bus. And I've done that before, traveling from New Orleans to Monterrey, Mexico with high school bands, back to St. Louis, Chicago, and that is something to experience if you haven't had to sit in a bus for 14, 15 hours. The trip to Mexico was a long one.
But I bet it's worth the wait once you get there.
Coming to New Orleans is definitely worth the wait. There's Ricky Jackson headed up to the stand, number 57.
Oh, I love it. I love the sequin fleur-de-lis with the 57.
What he doesn't have is his interception football he had in the Pro Bowl.
And there's Ed Munez.
They want him here. Is that Ed?
That's it.
Ed welcoming Ricky to the stage.
Ed has done a wonderful job with Endymion over the years.
It's hard to find talent like Ricky Jackson that is a mainstay in the city. We'd like to keep him here. He's sort of time eternal. I think he's been in the league 14 years now. To be an athlete and take that kind of punishment is truly a statement to that man. What's hard for you to view is the decorations hanging from the top of the dome.
You can see that big fuchsia fleur-de-lis.
It is monstrous. These parading units coming through the dome have it a little warm in here tonight. I'm hoping they keep the air conditioning on high.
Now I think we're going to the Queen of Endymion, Her Majesty, Miss Shannon Ann Kelly, daughter of Mr. Dan Kelly and Mrs. Pat Kelly of Kenner, Louisiana. She's looking beautiful this evening. She's a freshman studying business administration at Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond, Louisiana. She enjoys jazz, ballet, and tap dancing for relaxation. Shannon's royal gown is a traditional sheet of white rhodia with puffed sleeves and trimmed in white ermine fur.
Appliques of imported Austrian rhinestones and pearl fringe in an outfit. Her collar is made out of silver lame. Shannon's father, Dan Kelly, has been one of the crew's officers and driving forces for the past 20 years.
There are those Lambos.
Now that's interesting this year that the flambeau carriers have not only been maintained, but they've been made safer.
Right. Isn't it when they drop now, they automatically go off?
Well, they're using butane as a fuel source that must have a safety valve when they drop them. I can remember years ago, I don't want to date myself now, but the flambeau carriers lining up on Jackson Avenue to be filled with gasoline before riding through some of the parades that run through the uptown area. So thank goodness they don't use gasoline anymore.
Definitely.
Look at that outfit.
Yes, it's beautiful. Look at that headpiece. That regal crown of rhinestones, topped with snow white plumes.
It is absolutely incredible to have costumes so lovely like this.
It's been a literal growing up process in the Krewe of Endymion that is now brought to life.
It seems to me that every one of those should be museum pieces after this parade is over.
They should, especially with Stan Nicholas's creation. Stan is actually the designer who designs all of the maids' costumes and their headpieces.
And he lives in uptown New Orleans someplace, I know that, up in the Carrollton area. Now that is called safe flambeauing, right?
Safe flambeauing.
The reason for the butane and dropping the flambeau is, for years, as the flambeaus have been in the parade, the crowd would toss coins to the flambeau carriers who danced the best. And if they dove for the coins too fast, they would drop their flambeaus on the ground. Now that is a fire unit that is here in the Superdome. I hope they don't have to hit too many fires. It wasn't a very large one. It's the Lemon Bay High School Band from Inglewood, Florida. Another band from out of town that probably will be in the Mid-City Parade tomorrow. Close ranks. Some of these bands have been in parades before, but they have never experienced the crowd noise, the bead throwing, the balloons.
And that's a whole different experience in itself.
The closeness of a crowd to a band that you experience with Mardi Gras parades.
His Majesty, the 28th, Grand Cavalier.
What a costume, what a costume. His Majesty Endymion the 28th. It's Mr. Vern Cavalier. He is 48 years old and from New Orleans. A member of the crew for 7 years now, Mr. Cavalier was chosen by his queen by lot at the annual coronation party last month at the Hilton Hotel. His Majesty grew up in Metairie, Louisiana, and is now a remodeling contractor in New Orleans. He is the father of 2 grown sons and a teenage daughter. His Majesty is attired in traditional royal robe of white and silver that is trimmed in faux ermine fur. His crown is reminiscent of the great crowns used in the royal courts of Europe and is studded with rhinestones, crystals, and silver beads.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a tumultuous and Endymion welcome to His Majesty Endymion the 28th. All hail Endymion.
All hail Endymion is right.
We really do have to give a special thanks to Mr. Stan Nicholas, who has been designing these fabulous creations for the crew since its beginning in 1967. The Krewe of Endymion is proud of its long association with Mr. Nicholas, who is a native of New Orleans, and who is also very proud of the massive head and shoulder pieces worn by their majesties and their maids.
And here comes the Gibson County High School, the Mantas Marching Band from Tennessee. Never been inside the Superdome, to approach the Superdome from the ground level, as these bands are doing, to walk in and look up. It is just, it's just awe-inspiring. It takes your breath away.
Have you ever been at the top of the dome before?
I haven't been to the top, but I've been at the bottom.
Yes, we had Saints tickets one year at the very last row in the dome.
The cheap seats.
At the top, yes. The nosebleed section.
You buy the cheap tickets and scream like you own the team.
But it was fun. It was an experience.
There is the SS Endymion.
Papa Joe's.
Papa Joe's.
the Krewe Of Endymion's first super float. This popular paddle wheel steamer made its debut here in the 1977 parade. And she proudly sports lighting and decorations in red, white, and blue. And her stacks belch plumes of smoke as she races up the Mississippi to her home port of New Orleans. Call your attention to a special place of honor on the wheel housing for the city of Kenner to show the crew's gratitude to that city.
I understand that float is out there for the museum.
Which, you know, it's Mardi Gras all year long in New Orleans with the museum in Kenner. This majestic steamer is a tribute to the late Papa Joe Muniz and Papa Joe Assunta, charter members of Endymion and the crew's guardian angels.
We think that's the Farmington High School Tigers marching band from Minnesota, another out-of-town band. As they flash back to the SS Endymion Papa Joe's. That was one of the first super floats that they built, with the double-decker, getting them up there, getting the riders up there. There he is. You know who that is?
The one and only
Larry Bud Melman, whose real name is Calvert DeForest. I wonder if David can see him now.
kind of quietly sitting there, enjoying the parade.
Well, I think he's overwhelmed.
I think he is.
He's used to David Letterman ribbing him to death now. And,
Late night with David Letterman.
oh, thank you, David.
I think he looks like he's having fun.
Late night crew.
Well, he can wave, but he can't throw too well.
It's tiring. You realize that. Throwing all evening?
That's his brother with him in the car there. He's not going to throw, but I guess he's got an assistant thrower.
Yeah. He hired him to do the throwing for him this evening.
You should see the job description for that one. Look at the riders up there in the top, still throwing. It amazes me that they can go the entire parade route and still have beads, doubloons, and cups left over.
Have you ever ridden in a parade?
I never have. I've been in parades as a musician playing. There's someone you might recognize.
Yes, that is my aunt, Rhonda Shear of USA Up All Night, looking beautiful.
Yes, she does. I wonder how she got those long pearl beads.
She looks like she's having fun this evening. Rhonda's going to be Queen of Bards of Bohemia this year.
Are you riding in that parade this year? I understand you are.
Yes. Me and my co-host, Dirk Steele of B97, we are honorary Grand Marshals. You have to come out and see us Monday night.
I would love to do that.
Monday Gras.
We are winding towards, I'd say winding down towards Mardi Gras Day. We're actually winding up in fever pitch towards Mardi Gras Day. It's a pre-Lenten feast.
Chris Owen. Now everyone loves Chris Owen.
Chris is on the title float there, the Endymion Rockumentary tribute to 40 years of rock and roll. Aboard this spectacular super float rides Endymion, the handsome shepherd and god of youth in Greek mythology. Zeus bestowed on Endymion the gifts of immortality and everlasting sleep. Endymion reclines on a large pillow, while the moon goddess Selene is seen caressing him. I think you'd rather have Chris Owens caressing him, to tell you the truth. If you look closely, you'll see that Selene has come to life.
Oh, look at her. She looks beautiful.
That is incredible that Chris can look that well. Look at that.
She's ageless.
Ageless and timeless.
Definitely.
The New Orleans mainstay. Now, probably if we come back for Endymion in the year 2010, she'll still be here.
And looking that great. I want to know where she gets this fountain of youth. She looks fantastic. Chris is wearing a stunning red gown of sequins and beads that complements the crew's rock and roll theme. Please welcome Chris Owen. Around Endymion are reposed several maids in waiting.
And there is the Northwestern High School Marching Band from Ohio.
Another out-of-town band. Boy, there's a lot of out-of-towners in this parade.
It is the talent in the marching bands is well chosen. Since the beginning of Endymion 28 years ago, all the music and the drill units and the bands have been chosen by Miss Musette Mendelsohn Gonzalez, or her father, Brigadier General Harry Mendelsohn, when he was around. The marching units for this year's parade represent the best from Greater New Orleans and elsewhere in Louisiana. We've got bands from all over, from Florida, Georgia, Minnesota, California, New York, North and South Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New Mexico, Tennessee. Tell you, what state did we leave out there? Washington, D.C., they're from all over.
And you did that all in one breath. I'm impressed.
Well, that's it. We got the big lungs here, that's about it. Musette's selection of the bands and marching units, as well as coordination of the parade lineup, requires special creativity and dedication on her part. Endymion is proud of its long association with Musette and look forward to doing more parades under her direction in the coming years. Now, if you'll notice, the color guard there, they all have their beads. I wonder where they got them. Did they break ranks to get beads for this parade? Or?
I know. I see that.
You can see the beads and the balloons flying past the cameras there to the crowd. There's quite a large crowd gathered here for 10,000 people for the dinner.
Right. I think here is the psychedelic 60. An imposing figure of Jimi Hendrix dominates the front of the super float in a flash of psychedelic color, purple haze, Lovin's minivans, Haight Ashbury, and peace symbols.
The psychedelic 60s.
Boy, the 60s were very psychedelic.
For a little Jimi Hendrix there with the purple haze. If Jimmy was only around today to see this.
I'm telling you. Woven along the sides of the float are colliding images of the raucous sights, sounds, and performers who typified the music of the early 1970s drug culture. There's Janis Joplin, the late Frank Zappa, and Jefferson Airplane's Grace Slick, and out-of-this-world sights that were induced by mind-bending drugs. There's that big red peace symbol, which whirls around in the middle of the float, while a giant butterfly in a kaleidoscope of color lights on the back.
There's a Grateful Dead for you. You know any Deadhead fans who tool around in their Volkswagen vans to get the Deadheads at their next event there?
I know a few. This the Rifle Legion
There's
trophy.
Jimmy. He's going past us.
That does typify the 60s.
It's a Northwestern band walking through there.
You think that your lips will get tired after blowing that all evening.
Well, they do get pretty tired, but you put up with it for the thrill of being in the parade, the excitement. While you're in a parade, you don't even think about that. It's the crowd and everything else. Now, when they're done, get back on the school bus to go back home, it's a different story.
Need a lot of chapstick.
Tired lips, tired feet, tired hands, bruises, blisters, you name it, those guys put up with it. Excuse me, those guys and girls.
Thank you. Definitely, at this extravaganza, you see some beautiful gowns. We are back, and we're going to have a spice package now, a Mardi Gras spice package.
Probably be some spice packages on tourists and locals to give you a flavor of what New Orleans is about.
Mardi Gras Spice, just a little taste of carnival.
Mardi Gras is an invitation to everyone, and everyone comes. We went to the French Quarter and asked locals and tourists how they're getting along. Let's see if Southern hospitality still has a place in Mardi Gras.
People are doing something all the time.
Have you met anybody from New Orleans?
I just met you.
Have
having it?
I'm having a ball, having a time of my life.
Well, 90% of everybody is really very cool. A lot of people come with the idea that anything goes here in New Orleans, which is true.
Oh, at my age, I don't think so.
I love New Orleans. I love the people from New Orleans. People down in New Orleans are constantly smiling because I think it's the weather.
We always have problems with obnoxious tourists. We love them. We're more obnoxious than they are. See, that's the only. That's why they come down here.
I went to the parade last night and had a little too much to drink and fell asleep on a bench. And somebody lifted my wallet via a razor blade.
We tell tourists not to keep their wallets in their back pockets, not to carry their purses or lots of money. How does that make you feel about New Orleans?
Oh, not bad. They do that everywhere.
I don't really have that negative of an impression about Carnival. They don't like the way we dress. A lot of the problems that are caused on the streets during Carnival are caused by drunk tourists. They don't seem to respect that this is somebody else's city.
Everybody's nice, yeah.
Because when I'm walking down the street at night, when it's just chaotic, you have people from everywhere. We're all tourists. That's how it feels like.
If you want a hurricane, come to Paddle. I'm the best rapper, so you won't have to worry. And Loverboy Joe about to tell you about the story.
I like tourists because they're different.
What kind of things do you talk to them about?
About business, what kind of work they're doing, and how long they're going to be in town.
The locals don't want to ride the carriage and learn something. We give very historical tours.
What are our tourists like?
Came down here to enjoy themselves, and that's what we try to. Everybody be cool on Bourbon Street. This the end of my stroll for I catch a stroke. But did it? That's all, folks. Boom.
Parrot heads, get ready. We're going to take a trip to Margaritaville.
Jimmy Buffett's float is coming up. There he is.
Parrot heads of the world rejoice. Look at him.
Got a little video promo.
I know, I see that. A large figure of Jimmy Buffett looms over the front of this float in a swirl of surfing shark fins, depicting songs we all know by heart. I bet you've sung Margaritaville quite a few times, John.
Just maybe once.
Just maybe once. And of course, we know Cheeseburger in Paradise, Spins, and Volcano. I've sung a lot of dances to Volcano. You know, he was born in Mobile, educated at Tulane University, and he's now a proprietor of nightclubs in Key West and in the French Quarter.
Jimmy Buffett is the king of the Gulf Coast country rock and a big cult favorite of the college crowd. Jimmy also does a lot of work in saving manatees in Florida, and that shouldn't go unrecognized. A big friend of the Florida people.
Yes, he is. And he's done a lot for New Orleans.
I didn't realize he looked like that, though, with that blue shirt. Look at those cups. My goodness.
Now, I think it'd be fun to ride on that float, you know, if they were playing all his music the whole time. That is some of the most fun music in the world. I think this is Francis Gregory Junior High School Band, the Gators.
The Gators.
Under the direction of Mr. James Watkins.
That's another New Orleans public school, which we have many of them in the parade tonight. A true tribute to the public school system here in New Orleans. The talent these kids have is unbelievable.
A big band. I tell you what, you have to be quite talented to throw that baton also.
I would never have a attempted it. I would have hurt myself.
Yes, I would have too. I would have hit someone in the eye in the crowd.
Oh, it's such a thrill for these kids. These kids are representing their schools in the city of New Orleans when they come out here to parade. They're doing a very good job.
Excellent job. They're so in sync with those flags. I like the costume. The red fringe looks good.
Those smiles indicate how happy they are.
Yeah. Now we're going to check out one of my favorite bands, and that is the Beach Boys on the float, California Dreamin'. A blonde and tan surfer threads his way along the face of a bubbly wave. On the front of this float as a muscular lifeguard watches from above. Now, isn't that a typical beach scene from Southern California? Look at that wave. Could you surf that, John?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Belly boards maybe, but not surfing.
Oh, all right.
I wouldn't stand up. I'd hurt myself. I'd lay down in that thing, but I wouldn't stand up.
Yeah, I would think you'd have to have a lot of balance. Oh, I like it. It's so good. I like the way he moves on there.
Of course, Blaine Kern building these floats with lots of animation.
Along the sides of the float are sun and fun seekers playing volleyball, catching rays on the sand, and cruising in a customized 1939 Woody. And when you hear these songs, you only think of summer.
Bet you if you held that float up to your ear, you'd hear the surf.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. That is so cute. The little surfer on the front.
I don't know how you can pick someone out in the crowd from being that far away. They do it. They do it every year.
You see, the secret is you have to stand on someone's shoulder. That's the secret. Then they can't miss you in the crowd.
But if you're not on someone's shoulders, you need a ladder.
Okay, well, that's another option.
I can tell you that this year, going to the beginning of the Endymion parade route, and I'm sure all along the route, that there were ladders out there at 6 o'clock this morning. And the new ladder law says that the ladder has to be as far back from the curve as the ladder is tall.
Oh, really?
So that way, if the ladder is up, then people can stand in front, so there's still enough room for the viewers to view the parade.
That's very good.
And the ladders to be back there. But there wasn't a vacant spot on the parade route. Ladders were up since last night and this morning. People were camped out in tents on the parade route, waiting.
Well, this is good weather this year for Mardi Gras. I would definitely imagine this would be a record year for the turnout.
It is,
Now, there's your company, Dixie Crystal.
We're so proud to be here. It's just fabulous to be involved with the people. The Cox people have helped us out immensely. Ed Muniz has been very receptive in having us bring the broadcast to the people of New Orleans here on Cox Metro 10. It's just exciting. I can't even, words just don't even describe it.
I'm very happy to be here and be part of it.
Well, one would think they would die here waiting for the parade to move on.
Really?
It's...
That's okay. You see, the people around this float, they're happy. They're just, they're milking it. They know it's the end of the route. They're unloading all their bids. Looks like they're rolling now.
They're rolling now. The audience here are staying for the extravaganza tonight, and I'd be willing to bet the last band goes on about 3:15 in the morning. It is an all-night affair.
It is, definitely. There's Ed Muniz in the red jacket. I think we may be hearing the sounds of Washington Prep High School.
Another out-of-town band from California. Maybe they flew. I hope they didn't drive. Hope they didn't drive.
No, the Corps of Cadets. All right, up next, this is Captain
fantastic Elton John, one of the more prolific songwriters and flashiest performers of popular rock music. He's seen here in the front of his float in his role as Captain Fantastic. With more than 20 top 10 songs on the charts, 12 of them million-dollar sellers and million sellers, Elton John has touched every corner of pop music, from his outrageous costumes, his glitzy grand piano, and his flashy eyeglasses, to his remembrances of Marilyn Monroe. Seen here with her skirt billowing around her thighs. I don't see that yet, but I'm certainly looking for it.
Can't miss that.
There she is. And it is billowing, too.
Yes, it is billowing. That is a very famous scene from The 7-Year Itch. That is a classic film.
Who's the guy right at her feet there? I bet you he's happy.
Oh, I bet he's very happy.
University of Notre Dame.
The yellow brick road snakes through that float somewhere. Also, the Rocket Man is up there. The Rocket Man ship is poised to take off from the float in the rear. It still amazes me those riders have beads left to throw.
They do. They have quite a few, it looks like. Up next, Farmington, Minnesota.
Now, you know, we announced Farmington before. They got a little out of place.
Yeah, I think they did.
Or maybe they made a loop and came back.
They wanted to come this way.
Is this a rerun? It's a reappearance. Well, they're having fun. Look at them. Hey, this weather beats the heck out of weather in Minnesota right now. Now in Saginaw, Michigan, where I moved from, and hello to all those friends who really would rather be here, but it's 4 degrees for the high for the day.
Well, you are a native New Orleanian.
I'm born and raised here. Born and raised here. Went to St. Anthony School and Renevis High School in the Irish Channel.
So you definitely like the warm temperature.
I'll take this any day. It's hard to pucker up and play a trumpet when you're going to be that cold.
All right, now we're going to take a look at another spice passage.
Probably unsung heroes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mardi Gras Spice, just a little taste of carnival.
I respect their work. I mean, they are doing a great deal.
Those guys are the unsung heroes of this parade.
Last time I saw a tractor driver, I was making fun of him.
I think they ought to have pearls around their neck so in case they see somebody they know.
Yeah. Well, I think they're very strong.
The tractor drivers are very good. They put all the floats.
Well, I started driving about 3 years ago. A friend of mine got me into it. And it's fun. You see everything. You're all in the parade. You're part of the parade.
We provide all the labor in hooking up the floats and getting them moved out and to the parade routes and things like that.
I started driving tractors about 10 years ago, and it's a quite experience.
Basically, from a friend of mine, he turned me on to it. They needed a driver. I started driving, and here I am. I've been doing it for about 15 years.
Are they allowed to throw anything, or just they have to drive?
If you have some pearls, all you need is some pearl beads, and hey, all the women there.
My favorite parade would be, one of my favorite parades, which is kind of wild. It's a tuck parade. They get really loaded, and they do all kind of wild things.
I guess about the craziest thing ever happened was last night. I got stuck under a tree on St. Charles Avenue.
Yeah, what does he do in the off-season? I mean, a man's got to have a well-rounded career.
Just work. That's it. Work and get paid.
I'm actually aspiring to be a tractor driver.
If you like Diana Ross and the Supremes, you're definitely going to like this next float, Motown. The guitar-driven soul sounds of the Motor City come to life in a blast of bold blues, silver, and gold on this float with a large figure of Mary Wells. The Detroit-born singer who gave us such classics as My Guy, You Beat Me to the Punch, and The One Who Really Loves You. At the top of the float is a large likeness of Stevie Wonder. Puts on a sunshine of my life smile as Motown greats Smokey Robinson and Martha Reeves are seen on the side of the float. Mary Wells up there in front, and Stevie Wonder smiling behind her.
Stevie Wonder was born in Saginaw, Michigan. He didn't stay long, but he was born and raised there. Left about the age of 8, from what I understand.
Quite a performer.
Wonder if Stevie's ever been here to experience Mardi Gras.
Boy, I bet he'd love it.
This is the Orangeburg Wilkinson High School Band. The Bruins from South Carolina. Where I am in Georgia, I can see South Carolina from my office window. I'm still in Georgia, but I look across the river and I see
Can you really?
South Carolina.
So do you ever see these guys?
I can't say that I have. We're very close to the South Carolina border.
It sounds terrific.
It's a shame we can't interview some of those players and get them up here and say, what do you think?
I know.
You know, what is your first time here? What do you see? What do you like? What do you don't like?
Back to Mary Wells and Stevie Wonder on the Motown float.
I wonder if Mary's here.
You know, two of Motown's greatest groups, the Four Tops and the Temptations, will perform at the Extravaganza later tonight.
It certainly would be nice to be able to stay and listen to this group, but I think I have some little ones to get to bed tonight.
We hope you guys are having as much fun as we're having, but now we're going to have to take a short break and take a look at Dixie Crystal.
Thank you. Redundant, but this is such a spectacular event to experience it inside the Superdome. It is breathtaking. The banners, the lights, the spotlights, the lasers.
Colors, which is spectacular. Looks like Endymion really outdid themselves this year.
You know, talking of colors, I tried to find a cummerbund and tie that was purple, green, and gold, and I could not find one, not only out of town, but when I called in town, there was none to be had. They're all gone.
Well, you look very, very distinguished this evening. You know, I must comment, I really do like your cummerbund and tie. I think it was very, very nice.
Well, we're gonna go to another spice package just now, and I think that's the crazy little thing called Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras Spice, just a little taste of carnival.
Mardi Gras is a very weird time. I've had people come and pick me up and my table up and carry me and say Happy Mardi Gras.
During Mardi Gras, you see a lot of strange sights, but the strangest one I've seen was a lady walking down the street with a Band-Aid on. Nothing else but a Band-Aid. A big Band-Aid right across the middle.
The strangest thing I ever saw was a man standing on the side of the street, and he was playing a guitar, and he wanted to walk his dog. And I said, "Sir, can I play your guitar?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I need to walk my dog. Would you like to play my guitar while I walk my dog?" And I'm like, "Well, thank you very much. Yes, I would." And I sat down and I was playing his guitar, and I made more money in like 20 minutes than he made all day long. Because he came back, I gave him the money that the people had given me. Just because, I mean, that was a hell of a thing to do.
All right. Excellent.
I'm from Western Massachusetts, and I love it.
Well, there's always a lot of wacky things every year at Mardi Gras, but the first wacky thing, I think, was probably when we were invaded in 1970 or 71 by nuns on roller skates. When the streets of the French Quarter were almost unsafe for packs of nuns skating through the streets.
What's the biggest crawdad you ever saw? About that long? About that long? No, I got one back there. Y'all want to see it? Come on. Now, what's the strangest thing I ever saw from Mardi Gras? Well, hell. There was these 5 guys walking down the street in Ku Klux Klan outfits, and this guy walked over me and said, "You know what, I consider that an insult." And this guy must have weighed 200 pounds, took off his hat, and I just started laughing, because the little white guy ran as fast as he could from that black guy. Fast as he could run. Them black guys were just walking around them Ku Klux Klan outfits, just laughing as hard as they could.
Mardi Gras is a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. I come here. This is my 13th year.
I took some pictures of some of these young punks, or whatever they refer to them as, and they were. One of them was from Boston. He had a Boston accent. But that's part of the flavor of the place. That's what makes it so delightful.
Because you're going to see a lot of strange things this year, because there's a lot of strange people in the world, you know.
Mardi Gras, it is the best free party in the whole world.
I think Mardi Gras is great. I think it's something that everybody should come down here and experience.
Madness, madness, madness everywhere abounds, you know. You turn a corner and there's anarchy staring you right in the face.
Welcome back. Excuse me, John.
We are back. We're back here for Endymion 1994, and we talked about ties and cover buns. Your dress is lovely. Where did your dress come from?
Thank you. I'm very proud of my dress. From Cachet. Now I think we're going to take a look at the next float. Glitter Rock.
We'll come back and show that lovely dress in just a few minutes here.
Cachet would appreciate it. Radio stations at the time did not play songs with 4-letter words. The early heavy metal rock groups needed something to grab your attention. So definitely looking outrageous was the answer.
Bold theatrical makeup, weird, often satanic costumes, and lots of glitter in the hair, around the eyes and mouth and the tongues and other places that you get away with. Foremost among the glitter rockers was the group Kiss, and of course that's Gene, I'm sure, on the front of that float.
I'd say so.
Its bassist, Gene Simmons, was the most memorable, and his face dominates the front of this float, adorned with snakes, axes, and several implements of bondage in heavy colors of red, gray, and black. Well, that's something else here, huh?
I'm telling you.
The glitter rockers at the time were Alice Cooper, Queen, of course the late Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, and Leo Sayer. Amidst all the flash and hype, Kiss cranked out more than 20 hits and 2 million sellers. Look at the throws coming out the back of the throat.
Quite a float. They're humming those beats.
You can actually get hurt.
You could. I've been hurt quite a few times by a doubloon either cutting my forehead or a bead hitting me in the eye.
we were given some beads last night that I swear those beads weighed 3 pounds. And if you throw something like that, that's got to hurt.
Definitely.
There's some of the head tables there with some of the guests. Watching the parade as it rolls through the Superdome.
They're covered in beads. Now you know these guys, they're showered with beads and balloons at the head table.
They just got hit.
Yes. You need a suit of armor to watch this parade.
I remember in '87 we did the parade from the street, and the Cox Cable cameraman in the bucket truck had a hockey mask on.
Did he really?
To protect his face.
Smart man. Westwood.
Those girls look tired.
It can be tiring. Walking all those miles, those boots. Ooh, look at them go.
See, now after 8 miles of marching, how can you do that?
They are talented. Well, let's talk about your company, Dixie Crystal.
Well, we have been in southern Louisiana since the early 1900s, producing cane raw sugar down in the Jeanneret, Franklin area
I love sugar cane.
of Louisiana. And the family moved to Savannah sometime after that, but we've had our roots in Louisiana, kept them here. Company still owns property. We now produce Dixie Crystal sugar just up the road from New Orleans in Gramercy, Louisiana. You will see Dixie Crystals in the stores. There are upcoming coupons in the paper. We'll be doing some in-store demonstrations in and around New Orleans. Just keep your eye out for it. It's the sweetest thing on earth.
Well, I like sugar, so I know I'm going to like them. Didn't you say you used to play a saxophone?
Yeah, but I don't know if I played it as well as that guy just did when he walked past there. It's
I know, the saxophone, that's my favorite instrument. Here is Zydeco and Swamp Rock, with its roots in the simple folk music of guitar, accordion, and fiddle. Zydeco and Cajun groups drew from simple implements at hand for making rhythm and bass sound. Look at those feet go! That's Rockin' Doopsie, I believe.
Was that Rockin' Doopsie?
His son, David. Rockin' Doopsie just passed away this year. Quite a loss in the music world. Nothing like those triangles, the 2 spoons wedged between the fingers, and a wash tub base.
I believe that is a swamp scene on that float. Fertile shades of green along the sides, and a great blue heron feeding in the marsh in the rear. The music notes played by the Cajun musicians drip through the stands of cypress trees across the top. Zydeco Swamp Rock.
I think the most striking thing about the Zydeco is that metal rib washboard right in front of that float. As they vigorously scrape it with a metal spoon or bottle opener, you definitely want to dance when you hear that.
You can almost hear Doug Kershaw, can you? Truly great sounds of Louisiana and Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah. Here's Raton High School Marching Band.
The Tigers. New Mexico. Another band from out of town from New Mexico.
Welcome, Bill Prairie and the young people from Raton High School.
Those kids have come a long way to be in these Mardi Gras parades.
Up next, here's Modern Rock Superstars. And there's no mistaking Madonna up there.
Madonna Chacon.
There's no mistaking Madonna. There she is.
Janet Jackson.
Madonna.
She's definitely a modern rock superstar. I hear her tour this year is incredible. She's definitely in good shape. I want to know her workout regimen.
I don't want to know her workout regimen. I'd probably have to do it if I did. Madonna was a Bay City, Michigan girl. She got out of Michigan too.
Oh, okay.
Too cold for her.
Too cold for her also. She's definitely the queen of modern rock. front of her float with her kinky conical brassiere cups.
Is that what those were?
Yeah, that's what they were. Looks like they can harm somebody if you get too close. I wouldn't want to float in.
You could put somebody's eye out with that thing. You shouldn't run through the house with that.
Definitely. From above her and on the sides of the float are likenesses of the international rocker Billy Joel and heartthrob Michael Bublé. But I guess he's not your heartthrob.
He's not my type. I listen to him, but he's not my type.
He's good.
Madonna's name is all over that float.
I'm telling you, she's definitely a modern rock superstar. Now, I know Tina Turner smiled from atop her own pedestal.
That was Tina behind Madonna.
Okay.
And here comes the George Washington Carver Senior High School Band and drill team from New Orleans. Look at these fine kids.
Welcome back. And by the way, I have to tell you, I really like those Dixie Crystal commercials.
Well, we did a lot of work with those and had them done and have some more, but we just didn't get them in here for the parade. And we're down to the floor now.
For Disco Saturday Night.
Disco Saturday Night, the disco craze of the 60s and 70s spawned a lot of the campy acts, and the most memorable of which are the Village People. The members dressed as hip, gyrating cops, Indian chiefs, hard hat workers, Commodores, and so on.
You know this is back in style. You know, the disco beat, the bell-bottoms, the hip huggers, all that disco stuff. 3 of them, of the Village People, are featured with a giant mural ball, larger than life in the front of the float, colorful spotlights, pulsating strobes, and there is John Travolta as Tony Manero.
Here comes the Iowa State University Naval ROTC Color Guard and Drill Team. Another out-of-town band from Ames, Iowa. Another band who's glad to be in New Orleans and not in Ames, Iowa, where it's probably too cold to mention. Too cold to mention.
I'm sure they're quite warm this evening. Up next, every picture tells a story. Born in London of Scottish parents, Rod Stewart began his career in folk music and burst upon the international rock music scene in the early 1970s with the group Faces. From there, he started a procession of more than 40 hits in that now familiar raspy voice, from Maggie May and Tonight's the Night to You're in My Heart, Passion and Downtown Train. His stage swagger earned him the nickname The Rooster, and he's become one of the best-loved and widely known rock personalities.
Well, Rod, tonight's the night. I'm telling you, Rod, I wish you were here to see this. A very typical pose for Rod. He's wearing a plaid scarf as he dominates in front of this float wearing that scarf, while the sides of the float depict several action scenes from Rod's career. And I got to ask you, ladies, tell me, is he really sexy?
I think so. I just recently saw his concert. I tell you what, he still has it.
And he's married to Kathy Ireland?
No, he's married to Rachel.
Rachel Hunter. Well, he told me he wished he was married to Kathy.
That's not how it was.
Got that one wrong, didn't he?
She's beautiful, too. A lot of these rock stars are married to supermodels.
This is a St. Paul's gentleman band. I'm trying to figure out why there's a gentleman, but we'll find out soon. With the Gold and Blue Dance Team and the Spinners Flag Team. They also have an Air Force ROTC, Junior ROTC, and they are from Covington, Louisiana.
That's a big band.
They are big.
There's their flag team coming up in the rear.
So saw that trailer coming in. I thought they were the marching lions.
Bands have beautiful costumes also. I think I see my aunt in the background there.
She's probably on the front row there, still trying to catch more bees.
And she's still up all night.
It is fantastic watching her. Seeing a person from New Orleans who's made it to California, who still likes coming back to be involved in the parade. We know she's in the parade in Bards of Bohemia.
Right, she's Queen Monday night. We're very proud of her in our family.
You know, there's something about New Orleans that you'd have to leave to experience the loss, the pang of not being here for Mardi Gras or being part of the city. And until you leave, you really don't know what it means to miss New Orleans, not to quote the song, but it's just part of it.
Now we're going to take a look at another spice package. I believe this one is about a very renowned photographer in New Orleans.
Bird. Yeah, right. Bird's eye view.
Mardi Gras Spice. Just a little taste of carnival.
On exhibit at the New Orleans Museum of Art are 57 color photographs by the renowned New Orleans photographer Sidney Bird. Cindy Bird's photographs have captured the vibrant color, movement, and memories of carnival for the last 20 years.
I've always studied art. I've always loved art, and I've tried doing drawing and painting, which I did for quite a while, but I was never really good at it. But I always had like an eye for composition. I took a trip to Europe, and I was there for quite a while, and I took photographs there, and I loved what I got back, and I thought, you know, this isn't too bad. I think my stuff is just as good as a lot of other people. So I started really doing it a lot and studied about it. And I taught myself in the Time Life books of photography. I started reading about it, and that was the logical place. And they're really a lovely little set of books to help you learn about photography, and they're very well done. And then one of the book on color, Ernst Haas was a featured color photographer, and he was featured as an innovator in color. And I really loved his work so much that when I saw he was teaching a workshop in Aspen, Colorado, and I didn't have money to do it, I sold my stereo, and I took a bus to Aspen to study under him, and he and I became fast friends immediately, and he taught me about composition and color, and I really give him a lot of credit for how my work is today, because he taught me well. It's the most significant mass ritual in the world. And there are things going on that don't go on anywhere else in the world. It's just incredible that people put all their time and their effort and their love and their money into creating whatever they do, you know, whether you be a Mardi Gras Indian or whether you are queen of a carnival ball with ermine on your thing and giving queen's parties and spending lots of money, you know, and plus if you ride in a float, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on throws, things that you throw away. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous and wonderful. The Courrier du Mardi Gras, which is the Cajun Mardi Gras on horseback. It's quite a wonderful thing to experience, because if you go to Cajun country, there are all kinds of little Mardi Gras happening in a lot of different towns, like with wonderful names like Mamou and Eunice and Basile and Church Point. It's an incredible Mardi Gras in the fact that they ride, it's done on horseback, and they always have a beer truck and a bandwagon that go along with them, and they go on country roads getting chickens and pigs for community gumbo. And when they get to someone's house who's going to donate a chicken, the captain will get off his horse, and then they will throw the chicken up in the air, and everybody runs and jumps on top of the chicken. And this goes on all day, and there are several stops along the road, and they have parties at different farmhouses. And it's just an incredible experience because you hear, you know, like the clippity-clop of horses, but you also hear the strands of Cajun music and people speaking French. So it's like being in another country. It's really rural life at its best. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the Mardi Gras come out. Now this is a picture of the Mardi Gras, which is a very scary thing because they all wear these horrible masks that try to scare you. And the kids taunt them. They kind of taunt them in the streets, and these guys run after them and hit them with these long willow sticks. And to get them to stop hitting them, they have to get on their hands and their knees in a prayer position and say, "Pardon, pardon." There's so much effort and love put into this that on the day after Mardi Gras, the Indians start sewing again. It takes them a full year to make a costume. All of this work that you see is hand beaded, and there are men who are beading this. The sound effects of when you're marching along with an Indian and hearing all the Indian songs as they go down the street on Mardi Gras Day is one of the most incredible experiences you can have. They usually meet up along the way with other tribes, and they have traditions that follow that of challenges, and they kind of dance around each other, and it's a beautiful swirling physical kind of thing of respect, and it's also a way of saying pretty, 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 you know, the pretty costumes that they have made throughout the year.
Happy Mardi Gras.
We're back, and now we're going to the floor. Monster Mash, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the largest float figure in this year's Mardi Gras, rises, literally, from the front of this new Endymion super float, depicting the monsters and ghouls from songs of the past 40 years of rock. The creature, mounted on a hydraulic support, can rise to the occasion or duck down 3 to 4 feet to get under overpasses, tree limbs, and utility wires. That's quite a float. Quite a hydraulic.
I want to see if he does his hydraulics here.
If only I could get the word right.
I know some people on that float, believe it or not. The rear section of this giant float is of gumbo and Halloween horrors. This is float number 13. Monsters, yeah, misfits, beings, and beyond with Count Dracula serving as the high priest.
Well, look at that. Behind the monster is Morticia from the Addams family to let us know that she just moved into her haunted house today. The purple people eater, Sours, raids in the backyard, and Frankenstein's monster attempts to raise himself from a tilted lab table.
That thing is absolutely huge.
That's amazing.
Now you ride in that float, you can say I've ridden in the longest float in history.
Definitely.
This is a Los Angeles Junior ROTC band. They should be playing I'm All Shook Up after the earthquake.
Definitely it's appropriate to be in a rock and roll sort of parade. I think they've been rocking and rolling for a while now.
You know, we can prepare for hurricanes, but you just cannot prepare for earthquakes.
I don't know, you know, my Aunt Rhonda, she lives out in Los Angeles, and I don't know how she does it. She called us during one of the many tremors afterwards. You know, plates are coming out of the cabinet, pictures falling off the walls. I don't know, I think I'd be a little frightened to see the earth move beneath my feet, or maybe open up.
Open up and swallow you.
Yes.
The worst thing that could happen.
Ever since I saw that movie Earthquake years ago, so it was kind of scared me.
Well, to live through it, you have to have a badge of courage to stay out there. So she,
Definitely.
where is her badge of courage?
Really? Looks like the float stopped for a while.
Well, we've got a group of dancers here. I'm sure they're students with the Washington band, with the W on them, of course.
Here comes cult rock legends. Throughout the modern rock era are performers and groups who have been the backbone of the rock evolution, often the cutting edge of improvisation. We have a little tape here, some cult legends. Of course, the late Frank Zappa, the Grateful Dead, Todd Rundgren, and the Moody Blues are among them. But perhaps the most popular is Led Zeppelin, the British heavy metal supergroup led by Robert Plant and Jimmy Page that grew out of the Yardbirds. You know, they had only 10 hit singles and the million-seller Whole Lotta Love, but their string of albums have sold millions. I bet you have a few.
Unfortunately, I do. I need CDs now, not albums anymore.
Oh, okay. And of course, we cannot forget Stairway to Heaven. How many times do we hear that?
Who could forget Stairway to Heaven?
Definitely a rock anthem for a generation 1970s youth.
Waving to the crowd. They told us we couldn't wave when we were in the band. They told you to look forward, not wave.
You have to be serious. It's a serious thing down there.
Pretty floated with the Zeppelin, the blimp on the front.
Zeppelin should definitely be leading.
It's nice to see all the maskers on the floats leaving their masks on.
Yeah.
And I know that's one of that's Ed's rules. Make sure you stay in costume.
Number 14, followed by the Archbishop Shaw High School Band.
Here comes the Archbishop Shaw High School Band from Marrero, Louisiana, the Eagles. The principal of Shaw is David Condor. Their band director is Mr. Neil Knockamp, who is also an alumni of Shaw. Their drum major, if we can find him here, is Mr. Terrence Harris and Anthony Tranchina. Their dance team moderator is Edith Watney. I remember traveling to Archbishop Shaw to play those rival football games when I went to high school.
They play against your school?
Played the Redemptor's Rams numerous times.
Oh, yeah?
Can't say we won them all.
Oh, no.
We tried hard.
So they're quite a rival for you?
Any team was a rival.
Okay, that's the spirit. Everyone looks like they're very happy to follow the people.
These folks are just crowding around the police barricades to get another glimpse of the parade.
I remember my pom-poms.
They have one heck of a big group here. I'm surprised that they're continuing.
Rock and reggae. Guess we're going to take a look now at the reggae rock float. Rooted in themes of rebellion, Rastafarian, spiritualism, and Jamaican ghetto struggle. Reggae became a marriage of Jamaican music and the driving bass guitar line of New Orleans rhythm and blues, from Fats Domino and others. The most famous exponent of reggae was Bob Marley and the Wailers, Peter Tosh and Sonny Livingstone.
A large bust of Marley with Rastafarian hairdo dominates the front of this float with definite Jamaican flavor. On the sides are one of the colorful mobile DJ sound trucks that brought popular music to the people of the island, star for radio stations and affordable nightclubs.
Say, I like that reggae beat.
Oh, yes.
We be jamming there.
We be jamming.
At the rear of this float, we'll be seeing in a minute, Peter Bob Marley definitely shows the float up.
Look at their costumes. Even their masks have a little Rastafarian. The dreadlocks.
I love it. It's great.
Dreadlocks for the riders.
It's fun. Some fun music. Definitely hear a lot of different sounds in New Orleans.
The flavor of New Orleans is so mixed with its heritage that you're going to hear every conceivable mixture of music from all over the world. And that's something that you can get hungry for when you're away from home.
Well, we're going to dance up here for a while you guys look at our short break from Dixie Crystal. Hi, I'm Brigitte Pellette with Good News New Orleans, and I'm very happy to be with John Curry.
I'm here to help you see the Endymion Parade here tonight from the Superdome, and we'll get right back to the floor so you can see more.
I think we're looking at Edward Marcus High School. Am I right on that?
That's correct, in the junior ROTC. Their color guard and bugle corps.
Oh no, I think we're wrong, John. St. Paul's High School Band, Lead Team and Air Force, ROTC color guard. You have to excuse them. We don't have all these names in front of us.
Well, the parade has been shifted around outside the Superdome. It's a little tough. They're doing their best to get everyone in and around the dome and holding up certain bands to get in certain floats. But it is truly spectacular.
Here are the rock musicals and movies. Our next float, float number 16. And it all started with the opening scene of the Glenn Ford movie, Blackboard Jungle, as Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock blared all over the opening credits. Remember that song? How can you miss it? How do you forget a song like that? Rock and roll became a serious part of movie making, and before long, the movies were making the hits instead of just playing them. Front of this float features John Travolta as Danny Zuko in Grease for his song Grease Lightning and Sandy.
Well, I've seen that tape numerous times. In the back here, Darth Vader hovers over the Cantina Band from Star Wars, while the Ghostbusters are at the back, musically ask who you're going to call. Along the sides are depicted the Pinball Wizard from the rock opera Tommy and John Cafferty from Eddie and the Cruisers. Rock musicals also flourished on Broadway with Hair, Grease, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Starlight Express. I would love to have seen Starlight Express. It's a roller skating play on Broadway.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, Starlight Express. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that also.
And this should be the Northampton County High School Band.
From North Carolina.
Another out-of-town band. They've done very well in placing a New Orleans band with an out-of-town band in between their
Yeah. Look at that pretty costume. Oh no, we're wrong again, Sean.
It's starting to be a pattern.
I know, I don't know, maybe we should wait and not say anything.
Down at 35, high school marching band. John McDonough's School. A mainstay for years in New Orleans. These are the marching Ron Eagles.
Look at that mask. That is beautiful. I've never seen a mask quite like that one.
Ron Eagles are bigger than they used to be.
Do they?
See, now those tubas are not covered up either. They get beads down the middle of those.
It becomes something fun to try to do. It's a challenge to get beads in those tubas. It's a glittery dress. Beautiful sequence.
Now these kids must really be tired.
Actually, I remember seeing them earlier in the parade, the name on our lips. I think it's definitely been shuffled around.
So, you know, we've been in the air now almost an hour. So the first groups have already hit the road and gone back home.
You know, some of those costumes can get pretty heavy.
Well, the bands are fortunate tonight that the weather has cooperated. I don't think it's raining outside yet. They were expecting rain later tonight. But the temperature's couldn't have been better for a band. To come out here as a majorette or a dancer or a drill team to have 40-degree weather and you're wearing those
let me tell you,
little
that's
tights,
cool.
it's got to be cool.
Here is float number 17, Folk Rock. Out of the hills and hollows of the mountainous south came folk music, where it had been preserved much as it first developed with the pioneers who first settled there. That the music native pioneers who first were more sophisticated venues on college campuses in large cities in the 50s and 60s, folk mixed with rock and blues to become a national force for times that were changing. The trio Peter, Paul, and Mary, depicted on the front of this float, brought close to pop rock.
And just behind them, on the float, is Bob Dylan, who changed the face of rock with heavy injections of folk protest and conscience. Along the sides of the float, you should see Joan Baez, Pete Seeger, and beatnik poets of the 60s coffee house. And it's my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, that Bob Dylan now is a homeowner in New Orleans.
Yes, he
someplace
is.
in uptown New Orleans. So you people look out for Bob. Fancy me.
We like having him here.
He's such a controversial character, but it really brought folk rock to a new height with his political satire.
Definitely.
Here the maskers just...
Looking a little worn out there.
He must be tired. He looks a little unenthusiastic.
We need to be down there cheering them on.
They must be tired also. They've been out, most of these riders last night here for the pre-Endymion party.
Right.
Stayed a long time. Then have to get up early today to get their throws ready, even though most of their throws are on their floats already, to get out to the start of the parade route, to check things out, get back here to the Superdome today for the dressing around 1 o'clock before Mass took place, and then get on their buses, head back to the start of the parade route again. So it's a long day for them also.
Very long day. I know, actually, as I told you earlier, I'm going to be honorary Grand Marshal of Bars in Bohemia with my co-host Doris Steele from our show Good News New Orleans. And we have to be on the parade site for 3:30 Monday afternoon. The parade rolls, I believe, at 5:30. And that's going to be an all-night affair.
Get some rest.
I will.
Get plenty of sleep. Here's the crowd thick around the railing of the parade. It's a little difficult because they're bringing in the floats in the back entrance on the Girard Street side of the Superdome, trying to bring one in and let one back out.
Actually, it's quite a maneuver, bringing the floats into the Superdome.
Well, earlier today, walking around the outside, I was amazed that the floats were going to be able to negotiate their turn.
We're back, and we're now going to throw it to a short break.
And we'll be back with a short word from Dixie Crystals right after this.
We're back, and I'm Brigitte Pallette with Good News New Orleans.
And John Curry from Dixie Crystals, sir. And why don't you give us a little word about your show to tell us about good news?
Okay, my show's called Good News New Orleans, and I co-host it with Dirk Steele. Oh no, I think we're going to check out this parade, this next float. I'll tell you about my show later on, John. How's that?
Is that Mick?
That is the one and only Mick Jagger. This is the British invasion and bad boy rock. By the early 1960s, rock music was in a sleepy doldrum in the United States. The Beatles gave rock a wake-up call, but Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones made your eyes pop out and your hair stand on end.
still going strong in the 90s. I want to say he's 50, 51. Gee, I can't believe that. But he belts out jumping jack flash from the front of that float.
This is float number 18.
It's the Northampton County High School Marching Band.
Yeah, we waited till we saw that on screen
You
first.
betcha.
We're not going to make this mistake anymore. So I'll tell you about my show now, John.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Tell me now while the Northampton band's walking across.
All right. It's called Good News New Orleans, and my co-host is Dirk Steele from B97. And we do entertainment features and restaurant features, and we focus on people and places doing really good things in the community. Those are our human interest stories.
That's good.
Yeah. We've been on the air about 6 months now on Cox Metro 10. We're very proud of it. We're having a lot of fun doing this. There's Rhonda jamming in the crowd. So you have to tune in. I know that you don't live here any longer, but I mean, while you're in town, you have to check out the show.
We'll certainly get it taped.
Okay, well, we'll give you a tape. So, my dress this evening, I'm very proud of wearing, is by Cachet. Cachet sponsors all of my clothes on the TV show Good News New Orleans.
You're very fortunate to have them doing that. Here comes float number 19, the Fab Four with the Beatles. Crossing the Atlantic. It didn't take the Fab Four long to infect the rock star of East of America.
This super float takes us through the Beatles' entire career, from the early Moped days to the movies Help, Yellow Submarine, and Magical Mystery Tour, to Abbey Road, Apple Records, the psychedelic days in India with the Maharishi Yogi, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Along the way, they racked up 70 hit singles, had 21 number 1 million sellers, and stayed in the hit charts continuously for nearly 8 years. As solo acts after they split up in the 1970s, former Beatles accounted for 92 hit records, 17 of them million sellers, and 15 reaching #1 spots on the charts. In addition, they wrote scores of hits for dozens of other artists.
You know, Paul, George, and Ringo just got together and did a remake of Drive My Car.
How about that?
Yeah, with a lot of other artists who are in the video. Basically, it's, you know, against drunk drivers.
I think Paul would like to be here for Mardi Gras. Paul and Linda.
Definitely. Did you see them in concert?
No, wish I had.
Oh, it was great. It was incredible when he did Live and Let Die.
This is another long, long float. And this is the University of North Carolina, the Carolina State Naval ROTC drill team. Got that right that time.
That was good.
Tell me some more about your dress. It's nice and sparkly.
All right, thank you, John. Let me show you my dress. It's the gold up here, and it's purple, green, and gold. Very Mardi Gras colors.
It is, very much
Yes,
so.
thank you. Cachet sponsored this dress. They lent it to me for the evening. They furnish all my clothes on Good News New Orleans. Wonderful dress shop. They are in the New Orleans Center.
Well,
Beautiful.
If the promos are anything about the dressing, they did a good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, your cummerbund tie was very nice.
Well, I tried to find purple, green, and gold, but we just couldn't do it.
Well, I think it looks great. Now here you even got the tuxedo out of town because you figured nothing would be here in New Orleans.
I called, I tried, we couldn't find any place.
All right, let's check out the next float. Rock Dynasty, float number 20. Now, there have been brother-sister rock acts, all brother rock acts, all sister rock acts, and father-daughter pop rock acts. group of brothers, as individual acts, or combinations of brothers and sisters, the Jacksons command sold-out concerts worldwide. Their family has amassed a huge entertainment fortune while charting more than 80 hit singles with 11 #1 million sellers. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, the Jacksons have dozens of albums, mostly by Michael, and they've sold millions in 5 different record formats. Janet Jackson graces the front of this super float, which features brothers Michael and Jermaine in their adult careers and the Jackson 5 as youngsters. Michael and his amusement rides, petting zoo, and famous Silver Glove are there too. But not Michael.
Janet Jackson really is incredible right now.
She's pretty hot.
Oh, she's so hot. I think it's probably the hottest she's ever been.
And all the Jackson, of course, can move with the grace. Michael is not the only one blessed with the moves.
Oh, definitely not.
And here comes the Andrew Jackson High School Band, the Colonels from Chalmette, Louisiana. The principal for Andrew Jackson is Miss Kathy Boyd, and they are under the direction of Ms. Yvette Bourgeois, who's a graduate of Loyola. Their drum major is Mr. Brett Carver. It's a shame we can't get a better listen to these groups as they come through.
This is true.
All excellent musicians.
Look at those long beads.
Roll me some long beads. You have to kill and have to do special things to get long beads, don't you?
Yeah, I think you have to do very special things nowadays.
We're gonna take a little bit of a break to go to a spice package now, and it's gonna be
Mardi Gras, 365 days a year.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Mardi Gras Spice, just a little taste of carnival.
We've been working on the museum for 3 years, and the museum concept went back even before that when a group of Mardi Gras enthusiasts from Jefferson Parish approached Mayor Aaron Broussard of Kenner about the possibility of locating a Mardi Gras museum in Rivertown. And from that point, we had several meetings with carnival captains and people with a great deal of interest and expertise in the background of Mardi Gras. And from there, we developed some ideas and concepts, and like I say, we've worked on it now for 3 years. There are about 15 different categories of exhibits in the museum itself, and in addition to that, there is a Mardi Gras theater sponsored by Cox Cable called the Mardi Gras Theater, with a 21-minute video produced by Lynch Frost Productions featuring Richard Dreyfuss, and it's entitled Farewell to the Flesh. Then as you enter the exhibits, we have some fun with you, first of all, with transformation area and masking, where the visitor has an opportunity to try on a costume or look at himself or herself in a distorted mirror, look at a video kaleidoscope or a human kaleidoscope room, and so on. Then we have a king cake exhibit, which allows us to begin telling the story of Carnival and Mardi Gras. The fact that it always begins on January 6th, 12th night, and Mardi Gras is the culmination. It's the final day of Carnival, and it is a floating date based upon when Easter falls. It's the day before Ash Wednesday. We also can introduce the concept of royalty with the baby in the cake and the significance of the colors purple, green, and gold. From there, the visitors will have an opportunity to learn more about Mardi Gras dates and how the date of that is chosen. We have a Where You At Mardi Gras map of the metropolitan area showing the simultaneity of Mardi Gras. There are 5 video monitors in that area showing what's happening at the same time on Mardi Gras all over the state of Louisiana. At that point, we have a timeline that we have installed in reverse chronology. We did that so that the youngest visitor or the first-time visitor would be able to turn to the timeline to look for answers as to why do we do this. And so we begin with the present day and work our way back in time. Another area that's very popular with the visitors is an area called Backstage at Mardi Gras, and it gives the visitor an opportunity to feel as if they've stepped into a float builder's den or into Spangenberg Studios or a costume designer's area. And there's a person sewing costumes back there. There's papier-mâché artists and demonstrators that will be scheduled in there on a regular basis. And it gives people a feel of what goes into making Mardi Gras. Then the other galleries include exhibits on Mardi Gras Indians, Mardi Gras throws. There's an exhibit on music and marching clubs. There's another exhibit on what's a crew and why is it spelt with a K. And we've tried to identify in photographs and in video some of these other people who dedicate their lives to making life merry for us on Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras, Skip. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras.
And we are back here in the press box of the Superdome. And Brigitte, why don't you tell us a little bit about Cox and Metro 10 and what they're doing for us?
Quite a lot in the area, such as events such as these, the Endymion Extravaganza, as we take a look at this next float. Float number 21, the Rockin' 70s. Rock in the 1970s got hard, funky, more sophisticated, and an infusion of country music. There was something for everybody. Up in the front of this float is a giant figure of Roger Daltrey, lead singer of The Who. Pop logos of several other groups, Heart, Chicago, Yes, Yellow, and Boston are also seen. We're getting to the side of the float.
Is that Helen Reddy? On
Yes,
the side of that
I
float?
think so. Helen Reddy and the OJs.
I am woman, hear me war. War? War. The beads, the cups, and the balloons, they come and come and come. They don't stop.
Never. It's a very generous parade. Now, you remember all those groups from the 70s?
Well, I hate to tell you, I remember Chicago when it was Chicago Transit Authority before it was just plain Chicago.
No kidding.
See, told you something you didn't know. Here's the Covington High School Marching Band with the Covington High flag and drill teams from just across the lake, the North Shore.
This is great dance routines nowadays.
They'll have a long ride home tonight. Look at those drum majors.
Yes. They can move.
There is float number 22, country and rockabilly. Sandwiched between two large green cactus plants and mini lights, an imposing figure of Willie Nelson helps us bridge the gap between rockabilly in the 50s and the country rock of today. The rest of the float depicts other popular rockabilly pioneers, such as Roy Orbison, Jumping Jerry Lee Lewis, and Eddie Cochran. I wonder if we can see them all.
I like that cactus.
No, it almost looks real, right?
It does. I just got back from Phoenix, and I've never seen a cactus before in person. I couldn't believe how great they look.
Now, did you get to see cactus just like that one?
Exactly like that, as a matter of fact.
Look at those pearl beads. car, and I have to listen to country every once in a while.
Oh, really? Okay, we're going to wait. Oh, we're right. It's the Georgia Tech Naval ROTC Band and Drill Team.
The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Up next, float number 23, New Wave and Punk Rock. Once again, the British helped rock get a little bit more belligerent with punk, while New Wave groups in the United States softened things up with a generous coating of pop. The unmistakable likeness of Elvis Costello on the front of this float, while Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols looked on from above. Punk is the music of screaming electric guitars and crashing drums. Clash of the instruments and shouting monotone voices, flashes and shock waves across the float in blazing hues of yellow, green, and red. Quite a colorful float.
Sid Vicious, does he look...
It looks vicious.
He looks very vicious.
It looks very, very vicious.
So you don't do a lot of slam dancing or anything, do you?
Oh, I mean, it kind of can injure you sometimes. I need Madonna's conical, brassiere top. Then I'll do some slam dancing. I think that could cause some injury, though.
Well, you can kill somebody.
I think so.
The graphics on these floats are terrific.
Yeah, Blaine Kern outdoes himself every year.
Anybody who wants to visit Blaine Kern's Mardi Gras World and cross the river, just in Algiers, a working museum in and of itself. He has floats constantly under construction.
Just about any movie you see filmed down in New Orleans, you always see a scene at Blaine Kern's Mardi Gras World.
They make a stop there, you're correct. This is the University of Illinois Army ROTC drill team.
Up next, our next float is...
Float number 24.
New Orleans, home of the blues. Although we first knew him as Max Revenack, the New Orleans own Dr. John. He's at the front of this float. We were just looking at Aaron Neville. Max Revenack. Dr. John has got the raspiest voice in New Orleans. A swamp blues rocker, a session musician, arranger, and producer. And it's obvious from the front of the super float that the doctor definitely is.
Yeah, he leads his procession of New Orleans blues greats and colorful second liners through the streets of the city. We must tell you also that on this float is Bob Walker, the oldies king, who's broadcasting live from this float on WTKL, Cool 95.7, one of Ed Munez's stations. He must be having a good time, I tell you. Perched above the rooftops up there is Fats Domino, the legendary Henry Roland Bird, Professor Longhair, of course, perched on the old upright piano. An angelic voice, Aaron Neville is what they're calling him now, with his falsetto voice, who you'll see later tonight. Miss Irma Thomas is also around, the queen of New Orleans blues.
Papa Joe's SS Endymion turns her way up the Mississippi, bringing our city's greatest export. It's great music to Memphis, St. Louis, Chicago, and the rest of the world. Laissez les bons temps rouler. Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll, y'all. Have to learn how to say that again.
Laissez les bons temps rouler?
No, just y'all.
Oh, just y'all.
Just
Okay.
plain old y'all. I couldn't have said the first thing. As we watch this drill team pass here.
We're going to take a short break and take another look at Dixie Crystals. Welcome back to Endymion's 1994 extravaganza here in the Louisiana Superdome. See this Superdome?
This is the Louisiana Superdome, the largest facility in the United States as far as we know. Brought to you tonight by Dixie Crystal Sugar. We're happy to be a part of this colossal event. We just celebrated our 75th year, and to have it celebrated here with Mardi Gras, it's so fantastic.
Quite a
Words just
celebration.
do not describe what's going on. We've been around, as we said, we're up the road here just north of New Orleans in Gramercy, Louisiana, producing Dixie Crystal Sugars. You'll find our sugar in all the stores in the area. Keep your eye out for coupons that'll be in the paper. We'll be in the stores with some in-store demonstrations and cookies and bake-offs and all of our products from Sweet Thing and Sweet Thing 2.
Last time I saw a tractor driver, I was making...
So just keep your eyes on the look for us.
I'll look forward to it.
We're excited to be here. Now we're back on the parade floor.
Rock around the clock. A champagne of mini lights bubble up the sides of a giant jukebox on the front of the float. We pay tribute to the pioneering giants of early rock. Ray Charles, Bill Haley, Rick Nelson, James Brown, Jackie Wilson, Sam Cooke, and Little Richard. Now, you know, Little Richard's going to be in town, I believe, for Mardi Gras.
Little Richard. No matter what time it is on the clock, it's always time for rock and roll, and the songs are still a nickel a play, but not anymore.
No, not anymore.
They used to be, but not anymore. That is a big jukebox.
I like that. I'd like to have that in my den.
Well, I tell you a story. We used to have a jukebox that someone in my family gave to Goodwill, but we won't talk about that right now. There's a proposal on the side of that float to someone in the Superdome, which has got to be a unique way of proposing to someone now.
It's great. Will you marry me?
Whoever Trisha is, someone wants to marry her.
Well, this is good. You know, this is appropriate. You realize, you know, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. There's Elvis Presley.
The King. Last seen in Kalamazoo, Michigan at a Burger King.
Oh, who was that very seen? Were you one of the ones that saw him?
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see him.
The King of Rock and Roll is float number 26. This is the second new super float with hydraulics that operate the main figure, Elvis Presley, at his Las Vegas best. Quite a float.
One of the hydraulics make his lip move.
That quivering lip. The float depicts the entire life of the King of Rock and Roll in stunning figures and an 86-foot panorama along the side. I think we have an Elvis impersonator on board.
Well, can't be the real one, we know that.
We see Elvis at his youth at the Louisiana Hayride in Shreveport and as a truck driver in Tupelo, Mississippi. Then it's the nation's newest rock sensation in Gold-Lonay. With scores of Bobby Soxer fans and a howling hound dog. Then is the king of the silver screen, surrounded by beautiful stars. And later at Graceland in Memphis, then we see Elvis high atop the Las Vegas marquee. He's got everything on this float.
Yeah, Elvis lives, really. That impersonator was Mr. Peter DeLise from Chalmette, Louisiana. He's a longtime fan of Elvis, and Peter's been doing this act for the past 15 years. He has performed with his band, The Players, in every state in the nation and favorite Elvis cities like Las Vegas, Memphis, and Dallas. And that is one huge float.
I like the jailhouse rock costumes up there. What a float. On to float number 57. We don't have it on the screen yet, but we know it's approaching the Superdome.
The Endymion group has done a fabulous job with the decorations around here.
Oh, I love this float. This is Latino rock. A flavor of Southwest haciendas and mission bells dominate this float, featuring a figure of Gloria Estefan. We don't have it on view right now, but Gloria Estefan is at the front of this float. Here we go.
She's making the way around there.
There's the back of her. We'll make it around to the front. There it is. There's a set of bongo drums on the front. And on the sides are pictured trumpeter Herb Albert, Sergio Mendez, and mariachi musician.
Gloria Estefan, of course, another wonder in the rock world who came so close to being damaged for life with that rear-end bus accident that she was in.
She was so fortunate.
to make the return through the therapy, through everything else that she's done.
And she looks great.
Is remarkable.
She's quite a courageous woman. Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine.
You know, that says something about the musicians who travel like they do around to see their fans, because they do take their fans to heart, and they want to get out and see them, so they take a risk like that of traveling on the road from town to town to town in a bus.
Right. She's quite a woman. She's definitely appropriate to have this float.
Well, Herb Alpert is also the consummate trumpeter of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I have never been in here for this before, and this is a sight to behold.
Quite spectacular.
I'm really very disappointed that we were not able to get down to the barricades to catch any beads at all.
I want beads. I mean, I've been trying for beads. Oh, I like this. This is good. Yes, more. Yes, we like this.
Give me those.
No, I want these.
I want these. Well, these, I'll take these.
You have these already. Woo!
Well,
you see, you can get hurt with these things.
You're going to hurt someone with that. Thank you.
I love it. This is great. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Dixie Crystals has been happy to be a part of this parade. We hope to do it again soon. We'll be back to see you.
I'm Bridget Pellette with Good News New Orleans. We want to thank Cox Metro 10.
And I've enjoyed it, and thank all of you, Cox crew. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.